Square Garden as tonight the New York Knicks host the Charlotte Hornets in the regular season finale. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bruce Beck, filling in for Marv Albert. John Andres is by my side. Well, it's official. The New York Knicks will open up the postseason in Chicago against the Chicago Bulls on Thursday night. And yes, tonight the Knicks end a most disappointing regular season. Tonight's opponent, the Charlotte Hornets. And John, when you mentioned the name Charlotte to Patrick Ewing, his eyes seem to light up. This year he's averaged 43 points per ball game.
Yes, he has eaten them up. They have no one to match his strength and his size and everything else about Patrick Ewing. And tonight, without Mike Jaminski, it should really be a party. Patrick met the Charlotte Hornets here in the Garden earlier this season and had an incredible game, a 50-point game, 22 of 31. And it was all working. Patrick moving to the basket effectively. No one could get up and even bother him. And he was found several times by his teammates, and he had a very fine offensive flow going. Patrick finishing that game, as I mentioned, with 50 on 22 of 31. He shot 68% from the field in that game and also had himself 12 rebounds.
The improved Charlotte Hornets set a franchise record this past year with 26 victories, and in their last 13 ball games they are playing well, 7-6. And offensively they are led by a former Knick, Johnny Newman, lighting it up to the tune of 17 per ball game.
Yes, Johnny Newman has done what was requested of him. He has come to Charlotte and added veteran scoring. He shot the ball well, and he's also hurt the Knicks this year in the 3 prior games. Johnny, a very difficult offensive player to deal with because he has a lot of answers, particularly when moving to the hoop, as we just saw, or on the jump shot, which is so effective. Johnny has averaged 16 a game against the Knicks in the 3 games, has shot the ball very well, and as you mentioned, Bruce, he leads this team in scoring. What more could they have wanted for the $1 million a year they gave him?
Well, tonight a game of little importance at MSG, but it is a special night. Throughout the evening, the troops from Operation Desert Storm will be saluted at Madison Square Garden. Knicks and Hornets coming up. Stay with us. Early November, and now it ends in the middle of April. Right now, for the introduction of the starting lineups for tonight's ball game, let's go to public address announcer Pitt Schultz.
Now here are the starting lineups for the Charlotte Hornets. At the guards, number 3, Rex Chapman, and number 13, Kendall Gill. At the forwards, number 22, Johnny Newman, number 34, J.R. Reed. At center for the Hornets, number 45, Eric Lechner. The trainer for the Charlotte Hornets is Terry Koffler. The assistant coaches, Mike Pratt and Tom Nasolke. The head coach, Gene Littles. Not playing tonight for Charlotte are Scott Hafner, who has an ankle injury, and Mike Kaminsky with an injured elbow. Ladies and gentlemen, here they are, the New York Knickerbockers. At the guards, number 1, Maurice Cheeks. And number 6, Trent Tucker. At the forwards, number 23, Brian Quinnett. And number 34, Charles Oakley. Center for the Knicks, co-captain number 33, Patrick Ewing. The Knicks trainer is Mike Saunders. His assistant is Tim Walsh. The assistant coaches are Paul Silas and Jeff Van Gundy. And the head coach of the Knicks, Mr. John McLeod. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knickerbockers at Madison Square Garden are proud to welcome home the brave men and women of Operation Desert Storm. This evening, more than 1,300 military personnel and their families are here for tonight's game as guests of the Knickerbockers. Presenting the colors tonight are members of the 306th Engineer Company, part of the 411th Engineer Brigade, who recently returned from the Persian Gulf. And now, to honor America and our troops serving abroad, we ask you all to please rise and join with John Amarante in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
John Amarante, thank you.
A little extra emotion tonight in the voice of John Amarante. And throughout the evening there will be special music played at Madison Square Garden, and there will be halftime ceremonies honoring the troops from the New York area who served their country in the Persian Gulf. The New York Knicks will finish the 90-91 campaign with perhaps a better than 500 record at home, which would be a remarkable turnaround considering that they were at one point 11-17 at Madison Square Garden. They have finished strong at home. And as far as the home records in the National Basketball Association are concerned, as you can see, the New York Knicks have struggled at MSG, but recently have picked it up somewhat. And you need to be able to win games on your own court in the playoffs, obviously.
That's not a debatable point, Bruce. No question about it. And the Knicks now have one more chance to feel good about themselves before next Thursday in Chicago.
Here's the officials: Blaine Reichel, Paul Mahalik, and Ted Bernhardt. Charlotte Hornets in the teal and white, and the New York Knicks in the home white. And the opening tip controlled by the Knicks. The Hornets playing tonight without their center, Mike Jaminski, who last night bruised his right elbow in the ball game against Chicago, and he is out. Charles Oakley making his second straight start for the Knicks, coming back from the knee injury, and he hits the opening bucket of the ball game.
Nice part about that was that Charles gave it up and got it back.
Cheeks picks the pocket of rookie Kendall Gill, and the Knicks lead 4-6.
If there is a weakness in Kendall Gill's game, and this guy is on the, well, not on the verge, but someday can be an NBA star, the weakness is his ability to dribble that ball against the top defenders like Maurice Cheeks.
Getting the start in the middle is Eric Lechner. He's called for traveling. He's in his third year out of Wyoming. Was acquired during the season from Sacramento. So both Lechner and Jaminski acquired during the year by the Hornets, who have always been in need of a big man.
Lechner getting his second start of the season with Mike Jaminski out.
And Charles Oakley takes J.R. Reed to school. And the Knicks lead 6-0.
Wait till Patrick Ewing arrives if the Charlotte Hornets think they have problems now.
Johnny Newman, the former Knick, who has been the inspiration for this club this year, and that has averaged about 17 per ball game. Oakley grabs the rebound. The Knicks are off to a fast start. Trent Tucker didn't see Ewing, and Patrick not too pleased he didn't get the basketball. Tucker makes amends, gets the ball back, and misses the three.
There is a certain skill to getting the ball into the hands of someone when they're open, and they're open instantaneously. Not everybody has that. Trent Tucker doesn't have that ability to get that quick release when he sees somebody open.
J.R. Reed was pushed on the play, and the foul is called against the Knicks. It's on Oakley. This is what J.R. Reed said about Johnny Newman. He said, Johnny's enthusiasm is contagious. He wants to win so bad, and that's what we really needed. When he comes into the ball game, he makes a point of getting everyone emotionally involved. Rex Chapman connects, and the Hornets are on the scoreboard.
Rex Chapman has made significant strides in his development now in his third season. You know, when you think about it, he would be in his rookie season hadn't he come out of the University of Kentucky as a sophomore. But he's already got 2 years of NBA experience plus this season. So this is a talented young man.
He's only 23. And he's been around the league for several years. You usually see that stuff in the NHL. John, a guy will be 23. He's been in the league for 6 years. 8-2 the score. Kendall Gill backs it out to J.R. Reed. Reed missing. Oakley with the rebound. Reed has had a very disappointing campaign after having a pretty good rookie season. Oakley to Ewing. Ewing with the fall away. And the rebound to J.R. Reed.
Patrick settling for less on that shot. That was a very difficult shot he took.
Rex Chapman inside to Lechner. Lechner has it knocked away by Ewing. And here's Cheeks in transition. Tucker spots up. Oakley has it ripped away by Kendall Gill. We'll get a jump ball.
Charles Oakley has had a couple of big games against Charlotte in the 3 prior games. In fact, in the last, 2 of the 3 games, he has had 15 rebounds against Charlotte as J.R. Reed has been unable to contain him on the boards.
Johnny Newman comes down with the ball for the Hornets. Charlotte set a franchise record for road wins this year, for overall wins.
Yes, they're up to 26 this season after starting out 3 years ago with 20 and then 19 last year. So now 26, big improvement. Big improvement on the Knicks defensively too on a nice block.
Brian Quinnett missing, and the rebound knocked around, and it will be Charlotte ball. So Brian Quinnett getting the start tonight. Quinnett has shot well the last month and a half, including that 7-for-7 second quarter game against the Chicago Bulls here at the Garden when he lit it up. Newman for 3. Got it. Johnny Newman with his 28th 3 of the year. The Hornets within 3, 8-5.
This is a good shooting team from 3-point range. Chapman, of course, leads the team in that department, and Del Curry is also an excellent 3-point shooter. In fact, 4 of his 3-point shots this year came against the Knicks. He was 4 for 4 in the opening game of the season, which turned out to be an overtime game in Charlotte.
New York Knicks call a timeout with an 8-5 lead. 7:43 to go in the first quarter of play. Coach John McLeod of the New York Knicks. There's been much talk during the week saying that John McLeod would be out as the Knicks head coach, but President Dave Checkitz has vehemently denied those claims, says the decision has not been made, and a decision will be made following the Knicks' performance in the playoffs. Then McLeod will be fully evaluated. Brian Quinnett, nice backdoor and a good look by Ewing. who this year had 200+ assists. That was the most by a Knicks center since 77, 78. And a guy in the middle you wouldn't expect to throw the pass, Bob McAdoo.
That is a shocker. Bob McAdoo is still pumping up the jump shots over in Europe. He lives on and on.
What an amazing shooter. Newman on the drive, and Cheeks comes down with the ball. And if you can shoot, you can hang out in Europe for a long time, John, because that is the most important thing of an American ball player. Matter of fact, when Louis Orr went over to Europe, things didn't work out. One of the reasons was Louis is kind of a 9, 10 points, 6, 7 rebound guy. You can't do it over there. You have to fill it up. Rex Chapman goes inside to Lechner. He connects, and a basket counts, and a foul is called.
There are some interesting names over in Europe, Bruce, now that we get into that, who are scoring a lot of points. As we look at this replay, Lechner picking up that loose ball with his huge hands, and he gets off a nice shot inside. A guy like Jay Vincent, playing in Italy, getting close to 30 points a game this season. Joe Kapicki, another 30-point scorer over there. On and on. There's a lot of great names and great opportunity for players to stay active professionally and do very well.
Oakley loses the ball to Kendall Gill, who races up court. Gill challenged by Quinnett, and the foul is called. That's where Gill really excels. He is a tremendous athlete, can play almost, I would say, 3 positions on the floor. And there you saw a little burst of his speed.
Kendall Gill, one of the super talents on this team, Rex Chapman the other, both starting in the backcourt. But unfortunately, both play the same position. He and Chapman are basically 2 guards, although the Hornets are going with him as a point guard. They're trying to make him a point guard. He's got so many skills. He's got star of the future written on his career. Very humble numbers now, but he has come along very well. And Gene Little, as the coach of this team, feels he's their best defender. And when you get a rookie who's considered to be an excellent defender, boy, that's a big statement. That doesn't happen automatically. Gene Little loves Kendall Gill.
They will jump it up at the free throw line. The officials with dissenting views in that last play. And so they will jump it up. Eric Lechner and Patrick Ewing. 6:30 to go in the first quarter of play. Knicks lead the Hornets by a score of 10-8. Regular season ending tonight. Knicks open up in Chicago, taking on the Bulls, who just captured their first ever 60-win season. That game Thursday night. Cheeks to Quinnett. Shot clock down to 3. Cheeks puts it up. And the rebound to Quinnett. Nice look to Ewing.
Somehow Lechner let Ewing get away from him. He was 3-4 feet away from Ewing.
Knicks lead it by 4. Here's Johnny Newman. Newman forces it up, and Oakley has the rebound. Quinnett fills the lane, lays it up and in, and Brian Quinnett getting the start tonight because Kiki Vandeweghe is out with a sore back and will not play.
Quinnett running the court very nicely. Trent Tucker picked him up. Hornets on that shot. Oakley sweeping the boards. And Quinnett filling the lane beautifully, keeping his distance from Trent Tucker, making it difficult for the defense to guard him.
And Mark Jackson receives an ovation as he replaces Maurice Cheeks in the lineup. Quinnett missing the chance for the 3-point play. The word on Vandeweghe, a little tightness in his back, according to team physician Dr. Norman Scott. And I guess in terms of playing it a bit of precautionary here, he will not play tonight. So Mark Jackson hands to Trent Tucker. Ewing in the lane, and he will go to the line for 2. And Ewing has feasted on the Hornets in the past. 2 of his 3 career outings are against the Charlotte Hornets. And this year, 43 per game. John, that might have been one of the reasons they picked up Jaminski.
Well, no question. Also, they found out that J.R. Reed could not play the 5 or center position, and they had to go out and get a big guy, and they gave up Armand Gilliam for him to Philadelphia. and they're going to go with Juminski next year. I was asking Littles before the game what they want to do for next season. What's their primary interest? They're pretty happy with the guard situation, but they need a better forward. They need a better 3 and 4 power forward and a shooting forward. Johnny Newman just doesn't get them enough rebounds, according to Gene Littles, but that was no secret. They knew what they were getting with John, and that is scoring.
Knicks lead by 7. Kendall Gill pumps it out to J.R. Reed. Chapman to Newman. And Ewing with the rebound. And that's not a block shot, but that is an altered shot. It doesn't go into the box score, but there's no doubt what Ewing's presence meant on that play.
The absence of Juminski presents a very interesting positive for the Knicks. As Littles was saying to me before the game, with Juminski out there on offense, it forces Ewing to stay with him. So he has to be a couple of feet away because Juminski's a facing the basket type center. He plays on the perimeter away from the basket. So with Ewing outside, that enables Charlotte to get more done inside. But now with no real scoring threat in the middle, Ewing can wander around the middle and is much closer to the cutters and the drivers than he would be if Mike Juminski wasn't there. Ewing right into this game early, hits Charles Oakley on a nice pass.
Good look by Ewing on the play as Oakley played point guard for a couple moments on the fast break. Timeout. Knicks lead it by 9. We'll be back. To 8 right now. Let's go to Bullet Bob Page with a special guest.
Bruce, Yankee fans will recognize Roberto Kelly, who's here pitching in the Knicks game tonight. Yanks off to a slow start. What's been the problem?
Well, I guess we just can't recuperate from last year, but, the fans got to be patient. We're doing the best we can, and hopefully, get to a good start.
Is the pitching going to be strong enough to carry this ball club into contention?
Well, that's what we really need. If the pitcher's not there, we're not going to go too far. And we got a few good outings from Leary and Shokari. So if we can get, outings like that, we'll be in good shape.
All right, Roberto. Enjoy the game tonight.
Okay, well,
Roberto Kelly. Bruce, back to you.
Thank you very much, Bob Page. Chapman puts up a long-range jumper. J.R. Reed corrals the rebound. Hornets still down by 9, and they are really struggling in the offensive end. Now Mark Jackson and John Starks teaming up court, and this game has started very sloppy, the way you would anticipate the last game of the regular season, which has no meaning to either club. Hornets out of the playoffs, and the Knicks headed to the playoffs, but with the positioning already sealed.
You know what is noticeable to me, though, Bruce, is that the Knicks are playing very hard, and they're not getting particularly good results on the break, but they're playing hard, and they're shooting the ball fairly well at 47%, where the Hornets are not shooting well at all.
Well, Muggsy Bogues into the ball game. He's the kind of player who can pick it up. Smallest player in the NBA, having a terrific season. And J.R. Reed hits the fall-away jumper.
Muggsy lost his starting role several weeks back, and he has responded quite well. He's played harder, and now, as Littles says, he's playing for minutes, and he's had some very impressive games lately with his scoring and assist making. He is an excellent passer, as everyone knows.
Kenny Gaddison and Del Curry are into the lineup for the Charlotte Hornets. Eddie Lee Wilkins for the Knicks. And Gerard Mustaf making his first appearance in 3 ball games reports for the Knicks, replacing Brian Gwinnett. So a lot of shuffling by both coaches. Mustaf, Starks, Oakley, Eddie Lee Wilkins, and Jackson on the floor for the Knicks. And now Kelly Tripucka in the game for the first time for the Hornets, along with Curry, Lechner, Bogues, and Gaddison. And Eddie Lee Wilkins, instant offense, gets a quick bucket and a foul.
Gene Littles can't be happy with this guy. Eric Lechner lets Eddie dribble around him, get right inside for the layup. I mean, Eddie Wilkins is not a speedy player, and he just deftly went right around Lechner. And Lechner gets the results of that now. He'll get a chance to sit on the bench and think about it.
And he is replaced by Steve Scheffler. Further reports on Kiki Vandeweghe indicated he did take part in warm-ups, but with the stiffness in the back, decided not to go tonight. He should be on the bench shortly. He is changing right now. Oakley charged with the foul, his second. He also has 8 boards. And the Knicks lead the Hornets 19-10. Del Curry to Kelly Tripucka. And Trapuka connects. So the Bloomfield of Jersey native comes back to the New York area, where I'm sure he's hard-pressed to fill ticket requests. Trapuka has not played a lot of minutes this year in his third season in Charlotte, averaging only about 7 per game.
Kelly averaging 17 minutes a game. He is in the last year of his contract. So he is playing for it next year and beyond right now. He's played well lately with more minutes.
Oakley gets the rebound. Oakley is hustling well. Here's John Starks. Floater, good, and a foul is called. And Starks comes off the big ball game last night in Indy. 8 for 9 from the field, 20 points in 24 minutes.
Mark Jackson moving it forward. Nice job by him and getting it to Starks, who makes a crazy shot off the backboard. High off the backboard. Starks was flashing that long-range jump shot last night, leading the Knicks with 4 3-point shots.
You know, he's so inconsistent, John, because before last night's game, he had gone 6 for 29 from the field. And then last night, he goes 8 for 9. When he's on, he usually can catch fire, but he's a true streak shooter. We're seeing that this
coaching
year.
staff will remember last night's performance.
Rebound by Oakley, who's already into double figures in boards. Mustoff puts it up and in. Nice left hand.
You mentioned he hasn't been playing in the last 3 games, Bruce. I think a lot of that relates as Muggsy Bogues goes right into the Knicks defense. Relates to his knee, which has been lingering, as he has had a lingering problem with his knee, which kept him out of several games, and it had reappeared after he had been reactivated.
Oakley gets a breather. Kenny Walker checks in for the Knicks. So Mustoff, Eddie Lee Wilkins, and Walker up front with Jackson and Starks in the backcourt. Oakley heads to the bench with 1:12 to go in the first quarter with 10 rebounds. Mustoff inside Eddie Lee Wilkins over Gaddison.
Nice
bucket.
done. Mainly by Mustoff and getting that pass in perfectly.
And it's the bounce pass, John.
Catchable, seeable, and very difficult for the man guarding the passer to get his hands on.
Trapuka on the baseline, draws the foul. He'll go to the line for 2. So Kelly Trapuka, one of the leading free throw shooters in the NBA at 91%. Currently ranked 4th. Now has 2 free throws.
Kelly comes off a 14-point game to the Eastern Conference leader Chicago Bulls last night. And then in the prior game against Atlanta, Kelly had an excellent game, 18 points, 8 out of 11, including 9 points in the fourth quarter. He only played 26 minutes and he had 18 points. That was the 3rd win in a row for Charlotte against Atlanta on Wednesday night.
Trapuka has made 65 of his last 68 free throws, and he is currently 4th in the league. Last minute of play, first quarter, Knicks 26, Hornets 16. John Starks pulls up, way off the mark. Rebound, Kenny Gaddison, and he is fouled by Eddie Lee Wilkins.
The name of the foul is charged to Eddie Lee Wilkins. That's his first personal foul.
This is the 12th meeting between these two clubs. Knicks lead the series 8-3. They've won 3 in a row, 4 of 5. Hornets' last win in Charlotte in March of 1980.
Very difficult place to play with that automatic 23,000 fans there screaming every single game. Gives that team a big lift.
They lead the NBA in attendance, and it is loud. You do a ball game there, John, you come out and your ears are ringing.
Plus you have to deal with the man of teal.
That's right, yeah. Of course, when he changes into his costume, he comes out as the masquerading Hornet. Kenny Walker hits the jumper, and the Knicks lead by 11 with 20.3 seconds to go in this first quarter of play. Muggsy Bogues out of the backcourt. Muggsy letting that clock go down. He is quick. He can penetrate with 2 seconds. Trapuka. Long fall away by Scheffler, and that will do it for the first quarter of play. So it started a little bit sloppy, but the Knicks did indeed dominate. And at the end of one quarter of play, it's the Knicks 28, the Hornets 17. Individual game tickets for the Knicks opening round NBA playoff games will be placed on sale Monday morning. Tickets are available at various prices and may be purchased at the Garden box office or by calling Ticketmasters at 212-307-7171. Tickets will be sold on a first-come, first-served basis. Second quarter of play, Hornets trail by 11. Muggsy Bogues, number 1 at the controls for Gene Little's Hornets. Del Curry is teamed with him in the backcourt. Kenny Gaddison outside to Muggsy. And the ball deflected, and the Hornets will keep possession. First quarter shooting very good for the Knicks, and the Hornets just dreadful. Knicks also out-rebounded Charlotte 21-11 with Oakley getting 10. Del Curry, nothing but net. One of the pure shooters in the NBA. And the two-point bucket for Del is first in the game. Jackson inside to Mustaf. Has it knocked away by Tripucka. Good hustle, but the Knicks will keep possession.
John McLeod clearly giving some people extra time tonight. Ewing went out early for a rest. And now Gerard Mustaf relieving Oakley for quite a spell.
And John McLeod wondering what the call was in that last play. Knicks will keep possession. And Mustaf will inbound. Here's Starks. Good pump fake. Kenny Walker, good look to Eddie Lee Wilkins.
Oh, the pleasure is in what Kenny Walker did. What a great play by him, unselfish and timed beautifully.
Tripucka inside to Gaddison. Rims the basket, Curry with the rebound. He puts it back up and in. Del Curry in that big game against the Knicks opening night of the season. He had 22 on 8 of 13 from the field.
Last Knicks field goal, Starks on the miss. Kenny Walker gets the loose pass, already figures out what he wants to do with the ball before he got it. He saw Eddie Lee open. Eddie Lee got a nice easy hoop as a result.
Greg Grant replaces Mark Jackson, makes his 22nd appearance of the year. Air ball by Walker, Tripucka to Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy, good look to Curry, who puts it up and in, and Muggsy Bogues, ranked high in the league in assists, 10th in the NBA, picks up another.
That was the Muggsy shuffle. What a beautiful move preceding that pass.
Kenny Walker. And the rebound to Gaddison. Talk about a big body that could develop, John. I look at Gaddison that way.
You see a Charles Oakley in his uniform, don't you? He's got the shoulders and arms and strength.
Now Lechner posting up outside Muggsy. Fires. Gaddison gets the rebound. Tripucka for 3. He hits it. And the Hornets suddenly are within 4.
Well, Gene Little says you cannot go with young players only in building a team. And he was referring perhaps to Kelly Tripucka. He just may be with this team next year despite his disappointing, for him, playing time.
Mustaf loses it. Curry comes down with the ball. The Hornets in transition, looking to cut the lead to 2. Del Curry ripping the net.
John Starks now for the second time turns around and looks at Curry as if to say, who are you? What is this all about? But John Starks had better get up on Curry. He demands tight coverage.
11-2 Charlotte run.
A real winner knows how to party right. Please use good sense when you drink and know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
Here's Muggsy at his best, John.
Muggsy with that sly move, fake left, went right, and then delivered the beautiful pass to Curry down low.
diminutive one, Muggsy Bogues, guarding Greg Grant. Interesting matchup, John. You've got a guy 5'3" against another 5'7". Grant looks giant next to Bogues. Who's going to post up whom? Oh, look at Bogues, that quick move to the front court. Outside to Curry.
And Muggsy was moving with the ball.
You think Del Curry wants to shoot it every time he touches the ball?
Why not when you can shoot like that?
Former first-round pick of Utah is lighting it up. He is 5 for 5 from the field. Last year, at his best year in the NBA, 16 per game. This year, he has not played nearly as much and has averaged only 10.4. Kenny Walker is charged with the offensive foul. And it is 30-30. So the Knicks' big lead disappeared. They were up 28-17 at the end of one. And they've been outscored 13-2 here in the second. Curry, first miss. And Quinnett has the rebound. Kenny Walker smartly brought it back outside. Ewing's been quiet. You know, it's amazing, John. Last night, Ewing had 17 shots in the first half and only 5 in the second. How can a player go from being the focus to being nowhere in focus?
Well, in the case of tonight, as Kelly Tripucka gets off a lovely drive, Kelly's into a fine stride this evening. Patrick has sat for quite a while tonight in the first half, but last night it was unusual to see that happen. They defensed him better in Indiana, and his teammates just went away from him for quite a while.
Traveling is the call on Kenny Walker, and now Oakley checks back in, replacing Walker for the Knicks. You know, according to Bob Hill last night, they weren't double teaming Ewing until the second half. Is that true?
Yes, as Patrick was getting a lot of shots off, as you mentioned, Bruce, and that came because of the single coverage.
Ewing with the rebound. Up to Quinnett. He runs into Tripucka, and a blocking foul is called, and Kelly doesn't like it. So that is the third personal on Tripucka, and he is not happy about the call. Will remain in the game. Gene Littles looks down the bench, and he's going to get Johnny Newman back in now. Quinnett gets away with a shuffle, knocked out of bounds. Knicks will keep possession. Now Newman is in, replacing Tripucka, who leaves with 9 and played well. And the second quarter, John, a transformation, if you will. Similar to our friend, the man in teal. Runs it off the front rim.
Meanwhile, this is a challenge for Greg Grant, who tries to come back and duplicate what Bogues did, but he was unable to do it.
Tucker for 3, and Trent connects. And the Knicks pull within 1.
Grant is trying to put pressure on Bogues, and he is not succeeding in stopping him in any way.
Johnny Newman for 3. Yes. So the Hornets go up 37-33 with 6:15 to go this second quarter of play. Hornets trailed by 11 at the end of 1, but have turned it up here in the second quarter of play. The Hornets have won 3 of their last 4 games. And an offensive foul is called on Oakley. If he and Steve Scheffler ever hook up, that would be a major heavyweight affair.
An offensive foul has been charged with Charles Oakley. That's his third.
That's 3 on Oakley. Now Rex Chapman is back in for Charlotte. So we'll set the floor with you because of so much shuffling. It's Scheffler and Newman in the ball game for the Hornets, along with Rex Chapman, Kenny Gaddis, and Muggsy Bogues. Maurice Cheeks back in for the Knicks with Trent Tucker, Jerron Mustaf, Patrick Ewing, and Brian Quinnett. Bruce Beck, John Andres at Madison Square Garden tonight. Good look to Gaddison from Muggsy Bogues.
That's a special pass from Muggsy Bogues. What a pleasure it is to see that kind of passing.
Cheeks to Ewing. Mustaf has it ripped away by Johnny Newman. Here's Bogues wide open. And the Mugster connects. And the Hornets lead by 8. And what a run by Charlotte, 22-3. And Muggsy a big reason why.
Well, this team is running as Indiana did last night, and they're getting things done out there, and the Knicks are looking real poor considering who they're playing against, particularly.
You know, Bob Costas of NBC recently took on an assignment as a guest columnist of the Dallas Mavericks, and he put together a baseball team composed of NBA players, and Muggsy Bogues was his starting left fielder. He said he can cover a lot of ground, he'd bat leadoff, and he'd draw a ton of walks. And the rest of his club, I'll talk about that in a moment. Go ahead, John.
Well, Ewing getting the ball inside. And Johnny Newman coming up with that steal. Muggsy Bogues unguarded. Muggsy thinks pass first, but on that play with no one around him, he went for the shot.
John, the rest of that ball club first baseman, Newt Bowl, he said he makes Stretch McCovey look small. And the catcher was Charles Barkley. Imagine Charles blocking the play. Ewing connects on the jumper.
I don't think Charles would like the effect of catching from the knee standpoint, though.
Of course, Dennis Rodman was the relief pitcher, the stopper. Now Muggsy's at the controls.
How cute.
Hornets 41, Knicks 35. Knicks' biggest lead was 12, 26-14. Gaddison. Rebound to Ewing. And foul is called.
For the Knicks to avoid embarrassment here tonight, they better recall happy moments against Charlotte and Patrick Ewing's effect on them. Patrick is playing against a non-center tonight, and with centers, or the best that Charlotte had this season, he averaged 43 a game. They just may have to start going to him heavy.
Ewing has just 5. Gwinnett short. And the rebound down to Mo Cheeks. Knicks finishing up the regular season, heading to the playoffs for the 4th straight year. And Trent Tucker makes the basket, and he'll go to the line for a very rare opportunity.
Trent going in, Ewing getting position. Trent in the middle of his move already, however. With the soft touch, Ewing wisely holds off from tapping it as it hadn't cleared the rim area.
Tucker goes to the free throw line once every 44 minutes. This year, this is only his 27th attempt in 1,161 minutes. And you know, years ago, John, he was really criticized for that, but let's face it, that's just not his game. He likes to hang around the three-point circle and just fire.
Odd part of it is he doesn't shoot his foul shots well either when he gets there. 61% for the season.
He has no feel for it because he's there so infrequently.
But you would think he's such a good shooter, it wouldn't be a big problem.
No, you're right. Kendall Gill, and it is a jump ball as Ewing got the basketball cleanly. And as they might have said years ago, that was a burger.
We just had a rare look at Patrick Ewing with a big smile during the action.
Ewing taps it quickly to Cheeks.
Fans reacting here to some of the servicemen who are walking on the sidelines here, preparing for a halftime ceremony.
And that special ceremony to honor the New York area troops who participated in Operation Desert Storm. And there will be special ceremonies at halftime. We hope you'll stay with us. Gerard Mustaf on the line for 2. John, what about Mustaf's season? Started out slowly, got it going pretty good before he was injured in March, and now has had a little trouble gaining that confidence again.
I think that he has shown the league that he's a very positive force, and there are people around the league that have taken note of that. I think he's had a good year despite the disappointing Knicks season. Not spectacular, but he's proven he can play in the NBA. He does a lot of things well.
Rex Chapman with the floater, gets his own rebound. Missing again. Lechner, he misses, and finally Mustaf clears. Tucker for 3, and we have a tie game. up by 1.
It was tied for a split second, Bruce.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks for covering. What a
As
caddy.
you said it, the scoreboard reflected the tie, and then it went right on to the next point.
Absolutely. Chapman spinning, knocked away by Cheeks. 1-on-3. And he waits for help.
Ewing walking up court. I'll tell you, he feels he's out of the offense. Everyone else is shooting, and he's kind of strolling on the offensive end now.
Mustaf, I don't know if that was a pass or a shot, but Ewing made it look good. And the Knicks suddenly with a 3-point lead at the 2:30 mark of this first half. We'll be back. New York Knicks on an 11-0 run, and they have recaptured the lead 44-41.
Charlotte Hornets not a particularly good defensive team. As a result, all the Knicks are shooting, and Patrick Ewing's feeling a little left out of it. So he strolled up. You rarely see him walk up court like that. However, he was there at the right moment when Mustaf flipped one up off the backboard.
Kendall Gill's pass knocked out of bounds. It's been a strange ball game. Knicks started out leading 26-14. Charlotte went on a 27-7 run to go up by 8. And then the Knicks came back with an 11-0 run, and they presently lead by 3. Kendall Gill gets the roll. 1-point lead for the Knicks. 2 minutes to go. First half of play. Halftime, very special ceremonies honoring the New York area troops who were involved in Operation Desert Storm. And Ewing hitting from the outside. He's playing like a guard tonight.
He has too many choices offensively when he gets the ball.
Gill throws it away, but it was last touched by a Knick, and Charlotte will keep possession. Charlotte Hornets this year 9-31 on the road, but believe me, that's an improvement over past years. And they recently had a franchise best 3-game winning streak. Foul called on the drive.
Bruce, did you get to see the fight last night?
Yes, I did.
Surprise, huh?
Thought it was a terrific fight. I mean, I had the score pretty one-sided, but the fight itself was very enjoyable.
You had to see the Knicks last night getting on the team bus in Indiana on the way to the charter back. Of course, everybody interested in the fight. And a lot of the fellows have the portable phones, and they were talking to their home bases of people who were watching the fight. So we were hearing a lot of play-by-play from the back of the bus. Charles Oakley and Maurice Cheeks was hysterical. And then, of course, there was a lot of friendly wagering between the guys. Although I heard Maurice Cheeks say he might jump off the plane if Foreman wins.
Well, he's here.
As you can see, Maurice here in the backcourt tonight.
Yes.
Thanks to Evander doing his job.
Rex Chapman throws up an air ball, but Kendall Gill comes up with a loose ball, slams it home, and brings the Hornets within 1 with a minute to go in this first half of play. And the season finale at Madison Square Garden, the prelude to the Knicks. Oh! And Ewing with a monstrous reverse.
The greatest. I mentioned a moment ago, Ewing had too many choices. On that particular play, he had one choice, and was it a beauty?
Johnny Newman. Outside, Rex Chapman penetrates. Has it knocked away by Cheeks. Cheeks' hands have been quick tonight, but he got called for the foul there. John, I hope we have that replay with natural sound, or perhaps your headset isolated.
Maurice Cheeks reverse slam to Patrick Ewing. Thank you, Maurice.
One of John's more animated screams of the year. Chapman goes 1 for 2. Gaddison back to Chapman. Beautiful move by Rex. And the Hornets tie the game at 48.
Rex Chapman, he of the vertical leap that says 39 inches. He can soar.
It has been an entertaining first half of play. A lot of fine individual moves. Tucker, good fake. He fires. He hits. Knicks by 2 with 7.7 seconds. Gaddison taken away by Cheeks with 4 seconds. Mustaf, good if it goes.
Hopefully Gerard learned that 3 seconds is a lot of time. He could have gotten a better shot.
So at the half, the Knicks lead it by 2, 50-48. Coming up, special ceremonies saluting the soldiers from the New York metropolitan area who were involved in supporting their country, defending their country, and serving their country in Operation Desert Storm. We'll be back.
The Garden, where the Knicks lead the Charlotte Hornets by the score of 50-48. Looked like it might be a blowout after the opening quarter. The Knicks were leading Charlotte by 11. Hornets staged a nice run in the second stanza to get back in it. And this, the final regular season game of the year for the Knicks and the Hornets. The Hornets going home after tonight. And as you all know, the Knicks are going on to the opening round of the NBA playoffs. They'll take on the Chicago Bulls with the first game coming up in the Windy City this Thursday night, a contest you'll see right here on MSG. And then NBC will have the Sunday afternoon game. And if you're just tuning in, no determination made as of yet as to when the Knicks home games will be here at the Garden, what time of day, so on and so forth, that they'd start. As we mentioned throughout our cablecast this evening, this is a special night for the Knicks, and that they have decided to honor the men and women of our armed forces who served in the Persian Gulf. You're taking a look at some of them right now. Free tickets were distributed to the members of the armed forces, and they and their families are here tonight. We understand more than 1,000 of them on hand here in the Garden to see this matchup between the Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets. We'll have some special halftime ceremonies coming up in just a few moments. John Amarante will sing some patriotic songs, and now let's go to Pitch Schultz, the PA announcer.
Welcome home the brave men and women who served this country so proudly in Operation Desert Storm. And at this time, we ask all of the members of the military and their families to please stand. And we invite Knick fans to salute them with a big Madison Square Garden welcome home. And ladies and gentlemen, as part of our salute, we once again present John Amarante, who will offer a musical tribute on behalf of the Knicks.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America.
Amarante. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to center court for a special presentation. Representing the troops of Operation Desert Storm are Sergeant Joe Gibson of the 306th Engineer Company, Command Sergeant Major Francis McCabe of the 77th U.S. Army Reserve Command, Captain Joseph Parada, Commanding Officer of the USS Normandy, Gunnery Sergeant Chris Patton, Staff Sergeant David Lewis of the Marine Air Group 42nd Detachment Delta, and a contingent of servicemen and women from the USS Normandy, which has recently docked stateside.
At a break.
Now, New York City Mayor David Dinkins is joined by the Knicks' Gerald Wilkins to present a Knicks jersey reading Desert Storm 91 to proclaim all of our Operation Desert Storm troops honorary members of the New York Knickerbockers. Thank you, Gerald, and thank you, Mayor Dinkins. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude tonight's salute, please join with John Amarante to sing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
John Amarante.
Nice ceremony here by the Knicks at halftime to honor our fighting men and women who served in Operation Desert Shield in the Persian Gulf. 50-48, Knicks lead Charlotte. We'll be back with more from the Garden right after this. The Garden, where both teams are on the floor behind me warming up, and the start of the third quarter is just a few moments away. Right now, let's go to the sports desk. Here's Lisa Burkhardt.
Thanks, Bob. For a while, the Nets made tonight's game against the Miami Heat a real adventure, but the Nets have made a run in the second half and now lead at 114-100 in the fourth quarter. It was the last home game for the Nets fans, who seem to be enjoying it. Nets trail by 4 at halftime, but they come back with a nice effort in the third. Reggie Theus hits the short jumper, putting the Nets up 69-62. Later in the third quarter, Derek Coleman with a nice pass to Chris Morris for the layup. Ron Rothstein's Heat trail by 5 after 3 quarters. Early fourth quarter, Derek Coleman drives to the basket, loses control, but gets it back and lays it in. He has 20 points in the game so far, 114-100 in the fourth. In an afternoon contest, the Utah Jazz beat the LA Lakers 107-93. The win pulls the Jazz into a tie for first in the Midwest Division with the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio's lost to Denver last night, coming back to haunt the Spurs. Jazz head coach Jerry Sloan just needs a win over Golden State tomorrow to capture the division. The Jazz jump out to a 30-18 advantage after one quarter. Here in the second, Karl Malone takes the pass from Stockton and drives in for the reverse lay-in. Late second, Stockton on the steal, Jazz in transition. John Stockton to Thurl Bailey for the lay-in, 67-49 Jazz at halftime. Lakers do come back, and that gets both sides hot. Dunleavy and Karl Malone get into a little altercation there. The Lakers cut the deficit to 10 after three quarters, but the Jazz put it away right here. Mike Brown runs the floor for the slam dunk. It's the Jazz over the Lakers 107-93. The Pacers and the Bucks now in the second quarter. Indiana trails Milwaukee 37-26. And we'll be back with more on MSG Sports Desk right after this. Scott Sanderson took the loss, got into trouble early, giving up 3 runs in the first inning. The Mets drew even with the Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates for first place in the National League East after a 3-1 victory over Montreal today. That is MSG Sports Desk. I'm Lisa Burkhart. Back to the Knicks right after this message.
John Andres back at Madison Square Garden along with the Bullet Bob Page, and Patrick Ewing connects for the Knicks following a quick basket by Rex Chapman, and the Knicks lead 52-50 over the Charlotte Hornets as we begin play in this third quarter.
Patrick unveiling that seldom used hook shot quite nicely, although he has been doing it more and more lately. Patrick now 6 out of 10 from the field after 18 minutes of the first half.
And Ewing converts the three-point play. For his career, 11 games against Charlotte, Ewing averaging almost 31 points per game, and this year 43 per game. Chapman out of the backcourt, guarded by Tucker. Johnny Newman. Newman spins on Quinnett. Lechner has it blocked by the back part of the backboard. Leading scoring summary brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Ewing and Tucker for the Knicks at the half, each with 11. And you can see pretty good balance there for the Hornets. Del Curry off the bench made his first 5 field goals. He has 10. Knicks go with the club that began the ball game. Once again, Kiki Vandeweghe out with stiffness in his back. Will not play tonight. Rex Chapman to Johnny Newman. Blocked by Quinnett, but goaltending is called. Final game of the regular season. Hornets 26-55 will not make the playoffs, obviously. Knicks 38-43 will begin game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs against the Bulls Thursday night, 8 p.m. right here on MSG in Chicago Stadium. Tucker hits a 3, his 3rd of the night. Kendall Gill, rebounded by Ewing. An authoritative board. Wide open Oakley.
Well, Charles hearing some groans as he had a wide open jump shot. But in another sense, that was very unselfish of him. Perhaps in his sense, he didn't feel the offense was balanced and anyone would be in rebounding position should he miss.
Johnny Newman way off the mark. Cheeks comes down with the ball. Cheeks dishes to Oakley. He'll take that shot. Higher percentage. Knicks by 6. Chapman backdoor to Gill. Oh, beautiful play.
Well, Patrick Ewing, Brian Quinnett both standing there, witnessed that up close.
Kendall Gill, a big-time scorer at Illinois his senior year. First Illinois player to lead the Big Ten in scoring since 1943. And Oakley and J.R. Reed hit the floor hard, and a foul is called. And it's on Oakley. Here's the alley-oop just moments ago.
Oh, Rex Chapman seeing Gill, who had a shot similar to Ewing had. Of course, he doesn't have the size of Ewing, so he put it in off the backboard on that reverse.
The foul was called on J.R. Reed, not on Oakley. And then I believe we get a technical foul.
Oakley and JR both number 34.
And J.R. Reed charged with the technical following the personal, and Maurice Cheeks will shoot it. So JR a bit livid. Upset that the final episode of Dallas is coming up.
JR has a lot to think about in the offseason. He has had a very disappointing year, and that has become a piece of public knowledge in Charlotte and around the NBA, as he and his coach have had several public run-ins.
Ewing spins, fall away, air ball. Good hustle by Oakley, but it's all for naught because the 24-second violation had expired. You know, John, can you imagine not having a good year? I mean, I talked to a lot of people in the Charlotte organization. They said he didn't have a good year. Can you imagine not having a good year? I mean, I've heard of you not having a good broadcast, but not a good year.
J.R. Reed you're referring to? Yeah, he has not had a good season at all. The feeling was, after having to play center for the early part of his NBA career, as they had no one big enough or good enough to occupy that position, the feeling was that when they got Mike Jaminski, as they did this season, when he moved over to forward, that would be his natural position, and he would go off and really show the quality that he purportedly brought to the NBA. Well, what happened was he didn't show anything near what they expected. And I think his work ethic is a problem too. He did not rebound with anywhere near the ferocity that was predicted. He didn't show the skills that he revealed at North Carolina that everyone thought would carry to the NBA. And he verbally slapped back and at his coach and accused him of wanting to protect himself. And as Gene Littles told me before the game, he said, heck, my contract is longer than his. I don't know why he came out and said that out of frustration. Trent Tucker bombing away, number 4.
Trent is lighting it up. He has 17 points in the ballgame. That's very close to a season high.
One of JR's problems is offensively, similar to Charles Oakley, in that he doesn't have solid post-up moves down low. And that's something he should work on. And I asked Littles before the game if he's the kind of guy that will work hard in the summer, as many players do, and he said he didn't think so. Well, based on the past, anyway, he hasn't done that, so maybe he will. He also is a guy who shies away from the weights, which is the popular thing in the NBA now.
Can't do that nowadays.
Everybody who plays on that front line who excels pretty much is into weights. Even Michael Jordan got into that. And so JR better change some of his work habits if he wants to have a solid NBA career.
Hornets trail the Knicks by 7. And a foul is called. Lechner came barreling across the key and ran into Oakley. It's on Oakley. That's his 4th personal. And the Hornets will inbound from side court. See, those are the kind of fouls that big men are supposed to commit. Make the other guy fall or remember it physically. And Cheeks picks the pocket of J.R. Reed, and then a frustration foul called by Reed thereafter. And Cheeks with 3 or 4 steals this game as he gears up for the playoffs.
Well, this is number 4 coming up. Maurice sensing JR not paying any attention to him. That was number 4.
Timeout on the court with 7:29 to go in the 3rd quarter. The Knicks by 7. Knicks 62, Hornets 55. Knicks with the ball with 7:23 to go in the 3rd quarter, and a foul away from the ball. It's on Ewing pushing off against Rex Chapman, and both of them flash smiles. 2nd foul on Ewing. Knicks with their first losing season since the 87-88 campaign. And the aura of invincibility, which was a big trademark here at Madison Square Garden for a couple of years, vanished. into the air. John, this year the Knicks lost 20 at home coming into tonight. And the 2 previous years combined, 18 losses total. And that was a big reason why that record nosedived. Newman hits the fall away. 5-point lead now for New York.
Well, as everybody knows, people remember what happened at the very end of the season more than they do what happened during the season. And if somehow the Knicks can garner their best efforts for the Chicago Bulls, they can put a better stamp on this year than now exists. I think, as Marvin and I have discussed many times, Bruce, that the Knicks have a better shot against Chicago than they would against Boston, a healthy Boston, that is. Patrick Ewing looms very important, however. He's got to rise to better output against Bill Cartwright than he has in the past, and I think he can. There's no reason why he can't. Parrish has proven to be a much tougher guy for Patrick.
Kendall Gill handles it to Rex Chapman. Very young backcourt for the Hornets as Gill puts it up and in.
Gill at 6'5", just wiggled out of the way of Maurice Cheeks.
Cheeks to Ewing. Cheeks puts it up. And Oakley continues to be a monster on the boards, but throws it away. Newman slices along the baseline, puts it up and in, and the Hornets are within 1. The Hornets need some help up front because their backcourt of Chapman and Gill and Bogues coming off the bench bodes well for the future. They need some bodies.
I think they, like many teams, perhaps the Knicks being one of them, as Ewing works in low, Lechner's giving him no opposition. I think Charlotte's going to make a lot of moves. And they certainly have. I think Del Curry must be for sale. Great shooter.
Newman with a 3-point bucket. And we're tied at 64.
I think JR certainly might be available too, but his bubble has burst now, so teams won't be as excited about him.
And I bet you Gaddison plays more in the future. Remember, he lost the whole year with that torn interior cruciate ligament in his left knee, and that was just 3 years ago. He's starting to come back. Gill with the steal. Kendall goes all the way with the left-handed slam. And if Chapman has a 39-inch vertical jump, Gill can't be far behind.
Fine play by Gill. Don't forget, this is the last game for the Charlotte Hornets. There are no playoffs for them, so a lot of these players are playing with effort you might not expect for a game like this, because this is their last show. And players want to leave a very happy memory to management and the coaching staff after this long season. And this guy, rookie Kendall Gill, is putting a very Jordan-esque type stamp on this game.
I tell you, I loved him in college at Illinois. He was part of a team with 5 players between the heights of 6'5" and 6'7". Stephen Bardo and Nick Anderson and Kendall Gill. They went to the Final Four one year, 87-88 season. And this guy was a big reason why.
The 1991 point guard version. Times have changed. Somehow I can't see Cousy and Sharman doing that.
No, maybe not.
Have you ever heard of them, Bruce?
Yes, sir. I have studied. 88-89, by the way, was the year they went to the Final Four. The year that Michigan beat Seton Hall in the championship game of the NCAA tournament. Cheeks hounded by Gill with 2 seconds on the clock, and the Knicks will not get off a shot. There's the defense you talked about. It's rare for a rookie to play that kind of D. Charlotte with a 2-point lead. They've won 3 of their last 4, and in all 3 games they were trailing going into the 4th quarter. So this club is a second-half ball club. And they play well from behind. Newman. And the rebound of Brian Quinnett. Tucker to Ewing. And the ball intercepted by J.R. Reed.
No deception by Patrick prior to that pass. That's why it got deflected.
Foul was called on Brian Quinnett. That is his 3rd. And Gwinnett gets a breather. Knicks going with Cheeks, Tucker, Walker, Starks, and Ewing. Johnny Newman for the Hornets backing in on John Starks. Newman takes it to the hoop and puts it in. And that was one of his trademarks with New York, the ability to dunk over guys like Manute Bol and challenge the big men.
Meanwhile, Patrick Ewing was standing right in front of Johnny Newman at the end of that move. Newman made the proper adjustments.
Tucker fires. Ewing got it. 18 for Ewing. And the Knicks within 2. Wow, Knicks had 12 turnovers in the entire game last night. They already have 17 tonight. And only 6 for the Hornets.
When the Knicks and Hornets met last in Charlotte, the Knicks forced 23 turnovers in that game, won by the Knicks. So Kendall Gill, as a ball handler, has done a nice job resisting the thievery of this guy, Maurice Cheeks. Cheeks has 4 steals, but the Knicks are not causing turnover problems with their defense.
Gill with 11 points in the ball game. Misses the first. Mark Jackson back in for the Knicks. Kenny Gaddison for Charlotte. The Charlotte bench outscored the Knicks in the first half of play 28-14. And in recent games, John, they've outscored opponents 61-21 by an average. So they're getting a lot of production from a lot of people. Starks to Ewing. Out to Starks. And he hits a very strange 3, but it counts. The question is, did he call glass?
You beat me to it. Not like Trent Tucker winning that game in Detroit when Trent uttered off the glass.
Rex Chapman for 2. And the Hornets go back up by 2, 71-69.
I must tell the truth. Trent did it when we replayed it with a special mic in front of him.
2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in this third quarter of play. Ewing posting up. He puts it up with the left hand and a foul is called. It's on Gaddison. And the Hornets will call a timeout and talk about it. Leading by 2. We'll be back. Topping top honors in April, the Sharp Electronics Sharpshooter of the Month being honored by Dan McDonald, Key Account Manager for Sharp Electronics. Here's a look at the past winners. So Mark Jackson with a double-double this month, the MetLife Nick of the Month combined with the Sharp Electronics Sharpshooter of the Month. He really put it together in April. Patrick Ewing hitting at the free throw line. And we are tied at 71. Jackson and Starks have played well for much of this month when they've been teamed together. They are in the ball game right now.
Yes, they are a nice fit.
Foul called. It's a hold on Trent Tucker.
Meanwhile, Charlotte is playing the playoff-bound Knicks rather well, as they did to Chicago last night. Chicago picking up its 60th win of the season, but it took a spectacular, as usual, fourth quarter by Michael Jordan. 14 points to win that game last night in Charlotte.
And the Hornets had a tremendous 32-12 second half run, getting back in the ball game after trailing by 27, but it was not enough. Newman with 12 points in the third quarter, 19 in the ball game. Charlotte back up by a deuce inside of 2 minutes to play in this third quarter. Jackson, guarded by Kendall Gill, a pair of 13s going head to head. Starks. Ewing. Patrick with the fall away. Rebound, Tucker.
I thought it was Charles Oakley. Trent doing an Oakley type job on the offensive boards.
Trent snuck in there. And Tucker with his season high now, 19 points, his previous best against Boston earlier this month. He had 18.
Last Sunday.
And a couple of Hornets go down on the floor as Jackson brings it across. Jackson on the penetration. And he puts it up and in.
Unique move Mark Jackson has going to the hoop. He's not flying in that fast, but he has a great sense of timing and getting that shot off, avoiding the shot blockers.
Reed pulls up and hits over Kenny Walker, and we're tied at 75.
That's a very strong move that JR has. He doesn't post up back to the basket well, but facing the basket, he's quite effective. He has shown the Knicks a few of those moves tonight.
Jackson again on the penetration. Gets his own rebound, loses it to Reed. 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Chapman. And a foul is called as Kendall Gill went to the basket, or Johnny Newman, should I say. He was hacked by Ewing. And a pretty bounce pass there.
It appeared in the first 2 years of Rex Chapman's NBA career that he was a one-dimensional player, and that is shooting the ball. But when speaking with the coaching staff earlier, they pointed out how he has come along in so many other ways of basketball, like that pass we just saw him hit Johnny Newman with. And of course, with his leaping ability, he'll go to the boards a lot more. He is becoming a triple-double type player because he can rebound, he can pass, and he can certainly shoot the ball. And his shot selection has gotten much better. In fact, last night, Bruce, in Charlotte, he was awarded an Outstanding Player award by the Charlotte fans.
He was the MVP of their season.
They chose him as the #1 guy, and that was big news in Charlotte, where they are very loyal to their Hornets.
24-second clock is a second and a half behind the game clock. And with 7.2 seconds remaining in this third quarter, we have a blocking foul called against the Knicks. Offensive foul, it's on Eddie Lee Wilkins. So Muggsy Bogues in the game for the Hornets. And with 7.2 seconds to go, that's a lot of time for Muggsy. Bogues penetrates the middle, floater. Rebound Jackson with 1 second. Starks hooks it, and it will not go near the basket. And so 3 quarters are complete at Madison Square Garden. The Hornets lead the Knicks 76-75.
Well, this summer there'll be some good hoop action for young people who want to go to a good basketball camp. Gerald Wilkins and Charles Barkley have been selected by camp director and Knicks assistant coach Bob Salmi for the Wilkins-Barkley day camps, and that'll be a 2-week period in August. Gerald will be there, and Gerald hopefully will be in Knicks uniform Thursday night in Chicago. More formal word will come back on Monday or Tuesday of this week about his return from that ankle injury. He was out here shooting around before the game and looked good.
Final quarter of the regular season. And a violation on Eddie Lee Wilkins. And the Hornets get the ball leading by 1 as we begin playing this fourth quarter of play.
I think many kids will ask Gerald and Charles to dunk the ball out at Manhasset High School this summer?
I would think so. You know, I'll tell you that there are so many players today, even the good players, whose skills have diminished because there's such a concentration on dunking, John, that, you know, guys can't even make the short, easy, put it over the front rim, Walt Frazier moves anymore.
Fortunately, when I was playing, Bruce, I resisted that temptation and stayed with the fundamentals and didn't bother soaring and stuffing and jamming.
And I never had the
Much
dilemma.
like yourself,
I
right?
couldn't get over it. Muggsy Bogues and Mark Jackson head-to-head here in this fourth quarter of play. Gaddison for the Hornets.
One of the points, by the way, about that camp, and a point that's made in the brochure, is that this is not a cameo thing. Both players will be there for the weeks that they will be there. Gerald Wilkins will be there August 12th through 16th, and Charles Barkley 5th through the 10th. A lot of camps, guys will drift in and drift out, you know, attend a lecture or give a lecture and then go. Charles and Gerald will be there for the duration.
Here's John Starks dishing it inside to Eddie Lee Wilkins. Back to Starks for 3. And the rebound to Muggsy Bogues.
John left that long-range touch in Indiana.
Del Curry lost the touch in the first half, but the follow by Steve Scheffler. Purdue's Incredible Hulk, who's in his first year in the NBA. I want to talk about an overachiever. He is one. Knicks down 4. And they need some life offensively as Starks goes to the basket. Oakley with the rebound, and he is fouled. And Oakley has been yeoman-like on the boards, and that's what they're going to need from Oakley against the Bulls, because there are some outstanding rebounders on that club. Scottie Pippen from the small forward position rebounds well. Grant rebounds well from the strong forward position. A guy named Jordan rebounds well from the backcourt.
It's expected also that Michael Jordan may play some forward. And Horace Grant has had a sensational year. He and Charles Oakley will make an interesting matchup. In fact, the Bulls made a very good decision when they decided to trade Oakley for Cartwright, and that they sensed Grant would develop into an outstanding forward. He's not quite the rebounder Oakley is, but he's a tremendous all-around player and a very good offensive player as well. He has delivered big time for the Bulls.
Newman guarded by Walker. Walker very active defensively. Gaddison takes it to the hoop and puts it in. And he took Ewing right to the basket. And he got results. In his last 6 games, Gaddison averaging 13 points and 6 rebounds. He is getting quality minutes. Mark Jackson backs in a Del Curry. He's short. And it goes out of bounds. And the Knicks will keep possession. And now Kelly Tripucka checks back into the lineup for the Hornets, replacing Johnny Newman.
What's interesting is in this game, the Knicks are unable to establish, or haven't established, Ewing as the force he has been in the prior 3 games against Charlotte. Ewing is certainly out there working, but he is not the offensive killer that he has been.
Ewing losing the ball out of bounds. You're right, John. He's got 20 points and 10 rebounds, but in a very passive manner, if you will. Oakley, meanwhile, has got a double-double tonight. 10 points, 19 rebounds. One shy of his season high of 20. Oakley's 36th double-double of the year. And Oakley with his 20th board, tying his season high. Knicks down by 4 with 9:20 to play. Ewing wants it. Rejected by Gaddison. And here's Muggsy Bogues in transition. Curry loses it to Ewing. So both teams pushing the tempo. Oakley, and a foul called. Walker will go to the line, and Oak threw a pretty nice bounce pass.
Does that well. Kenny Gaddison certainly surprised Ewing moments ago with that block at 6'8". Gaddison timed his defensive play well.
I think Gaddison's the kind of guy that you go for if you're another club. He could be a steal. He could be a late bloomer. As I mentioned, he had the knee injury. He spent a year in Italy. 3rd-round pick of Phoenix back in '86. Things never really worked out for him there. He played well in the CBA. He was selected to the Sun Belt's all-decade team, John.
I would think that Charlotte would like to keep him around.
I would think so.
Yeah, he is their only true
young, big
physical
man, right?
player inside.
Tripucka fires off the mark. Ewing with the rebound. Long lead pass intended for Walker, but Tripucka gets back.
Great play by Tripucka.
Gaddison down low on the block against Ewing, and he calls a 20-second timeout. You don't see an NBA player do that too often. 8:32 to go in this 4th quarter. The Hornets 81, the Knicks 78. This program authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited. Bruce Beck, John Andres, Bob Page, Walt Clyde Frazier, Madison Square Garden tonight. Regular season finale. Knicks 20-20 at home, looking to finish over the 500 mark at Madison Square Garden. trying to build something for the playoffs, which begin Thursday in Chicago against the Eastern Conference's best, the Bulls. Gaddison tried the baseline, but a foul is called. An offensive pushing off down low on Kenny Gaddison. Used the elbow. That's the second on Gaddison. Newman leads the Hornets with 21. Gill has 12. Curry 11. And for the Knicks, Ewing with 20. Tucker with a season-high 19. And Oakley with 10 points and 20 boards. And another foul called on Gaddison.
Kelly Tripucka looking
no, it's not Tripucka.
very interested in defense as he tried to deny that inside pass to Kenny Walker.
So that is number 4 on Tripucka. Starks. Good look to Oakley.
Now that's an example of somebody seeing someone open and having the ability to quickly get the ball to him. Starks did it well.
Are you impressed with his passing the last month or so?
Absolutely. He's putting the pieces together to a complete game.
Steve Scheffler hitting the jumper. The all-time leading field goal percentage shooter in NCAA history. Breaking the mark set by Jerry Lucas, but let me tell you, most of his shots were layups or dunks.
College fans may remember, as Bob Page points out, Tom Scheffler, his brother, 6'11" center at Purdue.
Kenny Walker with the slam, and the Knicks within 1, 83-82 Hornets. To Curry, fall away, good.
Oh, he is giving John Starks a night to remember. So many of the jump shots he's made tonight have been with Starks real close to him.
Jackson and the Knicks call for time. They trail by 3 in this 4th quarter of play. Stay with us.
With friends, use good sense and drink responsibly. Please know when to say when. Reminder from Budweiser. Interesting play here with Muggsy Bogues holding Charles Oakley in place by grabbing his shorts. He goes up court and he gives Charles another shot. He's learning from Charles Oakley how to treat the opponents. Muggsy Bogues, a tough guy. I kind of think of Calvin Murphy when I look at him out in the court. Despite his 5'3" in size, he's physical.
Jackson with a strong move to the basket. That patented one-hand toss. And the Knicks within 1, 85-84. 6:35 to go, 4th quarter, as the regular season draws to a close. Tripucka missing. Bogues has it. And he resets. Charlotte Hornets have become much more of a half-court team the last half of the season. Tripucka to Lechner.
Tripucka has been very impressive tonight, as he has been for the Hornets lately, as we mentioned earlier. With playing time of late, he has delivered.
So it is a 3-point lead for Charlotte. Jackson dishing off, and Walker connects. So Jackson taking advantage of his height advantage over Muggsy Bogues.
See, a big guy like Lechner at 6'11", getting smaller instead of getting bigger when the play comes to him. He ought to be spreading people out under that basket, taking up space, knocking some opponents down who come into his area, as he does there.
Lechner fuels it outside. Del Curry. Hornets running their half-court offense. Curry got it.
He's a beautiful shooter.
Great shooter. Pure shooter. There aren't a lot of them. Curry, 7 for 9 in the ball game, 15 points. You know, Walter Davis type shooter.
Better. Maybe you're right.
Ewing with a fall away. Walter, a pretty good ball player.
Oh, when he's hot, he's hot.
89-88, Hornets by 1. Curry fires. Oakley tips it over to Jackson. Oakley has been monstrous on the backboards. Jackson backs Bogues in, but he forced the shot.
Well, Lechner, a factor there, has come to life a bit.
Bogues to Curry, blocked by John Starks. And Starks at 6'5" got way up on that one. Knicks can take the lead with 4 minutes and 5 seconds to play. Ewing dishes to Jackson.
Beautiful shot by Jackson, a lot tougher than it looked.
1 point lead for New York. And the Hornets want to talk about it. So the Knicks getting a spark from their bench now, and the result a 1 point lead. Lots of enthusiasm in this special salute evening to Operation Desert Storm, and the youngsters are kicking up a storm. Game 1 on Thursday, the Knicks and the Bulls. You can see it on MSG at 8 p.m. Eastern Conference first round at Chicago Stadium.
Well, the Hornets on a fast break moments ago. Del Curry thought he had an easy layup, but John Starks went airbound and took that right away from him. The Knicks responded. Ewing to Mark Jackson in a beauty, and the Knicks up by 1.
Tripucka with 7 on the 24. Lechner blocked by Ewing. Foul called on Ewing. Number 4 on Patrick. Hornets down by 1 with 3:32 left in the fourth quarter. And Lechner will shoot 2. Lechner, who came over from Sacramento on January 30th in exchange for a 1995 second-round pick. That's really looking ahead.
Well, with Mike Chiminski hurting his elbow last night against the Chicago Bulls, Lechner got his second start of the year in a lot of time.
90 all. Jackson. Good look to Kenny Walker.
Boy, when you talk about a player's ability to see the court well, you have to think of Mark Jackson, because he keeps that head up as he dribbles, and he's always sizing up people who are in good position, as Kenny Walker was.
Big fourth quarter for Mark Jackson. 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists for him in the ball game. Bogues, floater, good.
Right by Jackson. Mark let him get by.
8 points for Muggsy, and we're tied at 92. Oakley to Tucker, guarded by Curry. Walker backs in. And the basket counts and a foul.
The aggressiveness of Kenny Walker in pursuing his missed shot made it happen. Knicks getting some good play as they did a moment ago. Mark Jackson, no problem looking over Muggsy, and he sees Kenny Walker. Kenny Walker on the jump shot. He'll miss it, but he'll get in and pursue it. And that loose ball goes into the hands of Charles Oakley, who finishes things.
Hustle by Walker. Aggressiveness by Oakley. 22 boards. And now 15 points. And Oakley playing his third game since being sidelined with that sore right knee, starting to get the fluidity back. Three-point New York lead with 2:25 to play. Curry foul called. He'll shoot 2.
Trent saying to the official, "You got to be kidding."
And I guess fluidity is not a word you usually use with Charles Oakley, but John, if you remember the first couple games back, he was kind of up and down. There was really no feel to the game, and you could see a little bit better tonight.
Yes, the timing is back.
That's the word.
And
thank you.
Charles, who has killed Charlotte this year on the boards, As mentioned earlier, 2 games he's had 15 rebounds. Tonight he surpasses that in a big way.
Del Curry with 17 points, and the Hornets are within 1 with 2:20 to play. Ewing backs in on Gaddison, finds Jackson. They work the 2-man play to perfection.
That is because the double team that Ewing drew resulted in Ewing finding the open man, his teammate Jackson. Very basic basketball.
And when Ewing gets the ball, he feels like he can give it back. But when you don't get him the ball for a while, then his tendency is to shoot. Jackson makes him feel a part of the game, which a point guard should do. It behooves him with a guy like Ewing. Hornets will keep possession and will inbound.
Ewing thought he drew an offensive foul on Lechner. There was looked like significant contact, but no foul called. Gaddison over to Lechner. Amazing, no foul was called.
So Gaddison will trigger in for the Hornets. Running one-hander by Newman, rebounded by Oakley. And he has truly been the chairman of the boards tonight. Jackson out to Tucker, back to Jackson. 5 seconds on the clock.
Oakley set that pick, and it didn't work. There's an art to setting a pick.
Ewing, he hits it as time expires on the 24-second clock, and the Knicks with a 5-point lead. And the Hornets want a timeout. The Knicks working the half-court offense to perfection, and they lead it by 5.
The Knicks rising now with basic basketball in the closing moments. Muggsy goes over to Ewing. I don't know what he thought he could have done. Ewing finds Mark Jackson beautifully. Oakley setting what appeared to be a pick. Muggsy Bogues had no problem getting around it. He didn't get that body in the right position.
A minute to go. The Hornets trailing by 5 with the basketball. Johnny Newman off the pick from Lechner. Fall away. Air ball. Ewing rebound. The Knicks have taken over here late in the 4th with some nice teamwork, solid defense, and fundamental ball in the half-court game. Ewing posting up against Gaddison. Jackson back into Ewing. Fall away. Got it! And the Knicks are just executing beautifully. And they lead it by 7 points with 33.2 seconds remaining.
Knicks moving the ball well. Patrick Ewing giving it up. Triangle basketball there with Starks, Jackson, and Ewing. And Ewing shooting that jump shot over Gaddison, who offers no obstacle at 6'8". Patrick coming on strong in the latter stages of this game with 15 second-half points, reminding the Charlotte Hornets of the force that he is. Another good aspect of his all-around game tonight has been his 7 assists, which happens to be the same number he had last time they met on March 19th when he had a 41-point game down in Charlotte.
There's the timeout situation. Hornets will inbound with 33.2 seconds remaining. And this was supposed to be a meaningless final game of the regular season. But, John, I think you appeal to the pride and the professionalism of athletes who are paid to do what they're doing. Perform, entertain, and nobody is dogging it.
No, if you're on the Hornets and you want to be part of this franchise, you play hard tonight as they did. And the Knicks, of course, have got to get something positive going for Thursday night, and they have accomplished that. The great focus, of course, has to be on Oakley and his season high in rebounding tonight. Maurice Cheeks, the veteran that he is, will be ready.
Big playoff player.
He has paced himself for that. And Patrick Ewing has risen here in the closing moments to help settle the outcome. So he's got to feel good about things. Jackson's gotten a good workout tonight. I think John McLeod has done a good job in rotating his players so that they can all feel important to the Knicks team, which has not been the case in several games lately. But tonight, and hopefully for the Knicks for the upcoming week.
The unit that got the job done here in the fourth quarter was Kenny Walker, Starks, Jackson, Ewing, and Oakley. That was the group that blended nicely when they made their run. And now it's Tucker back in the game. And Mark Jackson at the free throw line for 2 shots. 28.6 seconds remaining, and the Knicks with a 101-96 lead. Buzzer went off, but I believe it was inadvertent. And Jackson will shoot the free throws. You know, I believe the move by David Checketts to rescind part of the fine got Jackson over the hump in terms of thinking about what he shouldn't have been thinking about. The suspension, I think, is a thing of the past. He's got a ball player now who wants to play, and I think it was a real positive move.
I'm sure Mark Jackson felt that way, Bruce.
Well, as far as his wallet is concerned.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I would think.
But psychologically, he's been a pretty good player the last month or
Yes,
so,
he
and
has.
he's contributed.
Sure has. Speaking about tennis, Bruce, I had a wicked match with Indiana Pacers assistant coach Billy Knight yesterday.
And?
Heck of a player. We just practiced.
All right.
He's superior, though. He's the best NBA player I've encountered on the court. Ernie Grunfeld backed me up earlier tonight when I discussed that with him. Ernie's a fine tennis player, and he agreed.
Gerald Wilkins looking forward to the playoffs. He will be ready. Ankle injury has kept him out of action since, about 9 games.
Sure looks a little nasty, you know. I think he's feeling ornery that he's not out there. He's not smiling that much tonight. He's got some intensity.
Bogues on the pass, and a foul is called. 24.9 seconds to play. And the foul is on Oakley, his 5th. Gerald Wilkins thinking about Michael Jordan. You wouldn't be smiling much either, would you?
Michael, who never has a bad day. Jordan, that guy, huh?
Muggsy Bogues, who leads the NBA in assist-turnover ratio with a mind-boggling total of over 5.5 to 1. And you're not talking about a guy who doesn't handle the ball a lot. I mean, he can make turnovers very easily. Muggsy connects at the line and cuts the lead to 102-98 with 24.9 seconds to play. John, let's take a look at the leaderboard, that assist-turnover ratio, where Muggsy sits high atop the list and Maurice Cheeks is 4th. 5.5 to 1. Coming into tonight's game, 662 assists, 120 turnovers.
It's a very important number, and yet you don't hear coaches talk about, I like that guy because he's got a great assist-to-turnover ratio, you know?
Right.
But it is important because when you throw the ball away, you're giving the other team a chance to score, and that's a horrible statistic in itself.
And I think it means more to have that higher ratio when you're handling the ball so damn much.
Or so darn much, Bruce.
Darn much.
Either way, you know?
Now, Bogues, to back up those numbers tonight, has 7 assists and 0 turnovers.
Well, he averages 8 a game, and he continues to prove that there's a place in the NBA for him, despite losing that starting berth.
Don't forget MSG Sports Desk coming up next. 15-minute edition with Lisa Burkhart. Highlights of Yankees and Mets, the NHL news, and the NBA news. And don't forget on Thursday, 8 o'clock, Knicks and the Bulls from Chicago Stadium, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Best 3 out of 5 game series. By the way, Wilkins has been on the injured list since March 29th with that severely sprained left ankle. He was injured in the ball game against Golden State. It is still a game. 4 points. The lead for the Knicks. Cheeks back in the game. Ian Jackson on the floor in the backcourt. Oakley fouled by Newman. They pick Charles, and he'll go to the line.
Fact of the matter is, with Del Curry on the court, the Knicks have to remember what happened in the opening game of the season. Kind of ironic, the Knicks opening and closing with Charlotte. But Curry, with his incredible long-range shooting, shot the Hornets into an overtime game against the Knicks. And that could happen now. And the Knicks have got to be careful that Curry does not get his hands on the ball. He was 4 for 4 in the opener. A high-scoring game, 134 to 130. The Knicks finally were able to wrestle that game away.
Starks replaces Cheeks. John McLeod doing a little offense-defense here. Oakley connecting on the first. 16 points, 23 rebounds, 6 for 6 from the field, 5 for 5 from the line.
Tucker on Curry, he remembers.
Bogues all the way, lays it in. Knicks do not foul wisely. And now the Hornets do. Rex Chapman grabbing John Starks with 14.9 seconds to play. And the New York Knicks up 104 to 100.
I think John McLeod would have preferred that layup not be quite as easy, although you don't want to send the team to the foul line. But fortunately, the Knicks were fouled right away.
Starks hits the first. 7 points in the game. There's a look at the Charlotte Brain Trust. Coach Gene Littles in his first full season had been an assistant with 4 NBA teams prior to that. Starks perfect on the 2 free throws. 6-point New York lead. Bogues to Newman for 3. Rebound Chapman. He puts it up and in. Hornets out of timeouts. Knicks lead it by 4. 5 seconds to play. And this one is academic now as Rex Chapman fouls John Starks with 3 3/10 seconds remaining in this ball game.
We're also looking at Mike Pratt to the left in the light suit there, and Tom Nasolke, very well-traveled NBA coach, been around the game a long time, and Gene Littles was very loyal to Tom Nasolke and having him on his staff. They have been together in the past.
So the Knicks will finish 21-20 at home. And they will have won 4 in a row at MSG and 10 of their last 13. And the Knicks sweeping the season series from the Charlotte Hornets. Muggsy Bogues misses at the buzzer, and the Knicks win their final regular season game of the 90-91 campaign, 108 to 102. And up next for them, the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, opening round of the playoffs. A good win for this ball club, especially in the fourth quarter tonight. We'll take a short break, back with the post-game show and the Bullet Bob Page in just a moment.
Lisa Burkhardt will be at the sports desk for our 15-minute edition of the program, featuring Mets and Yankees highlights from today, Stanley Cup playoff action. How about those surprising Minnesota North Stars, and the rest of the action from around the National Basketball Association on this, the final night of the regular season. And there's our final score as the Knicks defeat the Charlotte Hornets 108-102. Patrick Ewing with an excellent performance, taking over down the stretch, had a couple of key hoops in the last 2 minutes of the ball game that helped put this one away for the Knicks. One of them right there. Charles Oakley, a big story for the Knicks as well, with 23 rebounds. That's a Knicks career high for him, as well as, of course, a season high. Bob Page welcoming you back to the Garden on a night that the Knicks honored our fighting forces from the New York metropolitan area who served in Operation Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf. This one in the books goes down as a Knick victory. They finished the season 39-43, and the Knicks now move on to the first round of the NBA playoffs, where they'll take on Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Here's the Knicks scoring parade tonight, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers, Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Patrick with 26 points led the parade. Trent Tucker with a terrific game in a starting role, had 19 points, deadly from downtown. Oakley with his 17 points to go with those 23 boards. John Starks coming off an excellent performance last night at Indiana with 10 tonight. And for the Charlotte Hornets, Leading the way, former Knick Johnny Newman. Del Curry, 19 points off the bench. Gil Bogues and Rex Chapman round out the scoring parade. We'll be back with more from the Garden right after these messages. Charles Oakley with those 17 points, and I said 23 rebounds. I understand that officially now they've dug up one more for him. Oak finishes with 24 boards on the night. Here, pass comes in down low, and Oakley goes up jamming home 2 of his 17 points in this Knicks victory. A reminder that guests will receive a Be My Guest restaurant certificate from American Express, honored at restaurants in the U.S. and Canada accepting the American Express card. Be My Guest, the perfect wedding, anniversary, or thank you gift. To order with the card, call 1-800-535-GIFT. Membership has its privileges. And our dunk of the game, which is brought to you by Budweiser. Bud, the king of beers with that distinctively clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Budweiser, and if you were with us all evening here on MSG, you knew when this occurred that it would be the Budweiser dunk of the game. Nice alley-oop down low, Mo Cheeks, Patrick Ewing over his shoulder into the hoop for 2. Back after again, this time out. Reminder once again to stay tuned as Lisa Burkhardt comes up next from the MSG Sports Desk with our 15-minute edition of the program. Our next Knicks cablecast here on MSG comes up Thursday night at Chicago. The Knicks open the playoffs against Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Knicks beat Charlotte 108-102. Good night from the Garden.